put you in my sights.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to Elite POV, where it's podcast time, and you know what that means. And if you were watching on Twitch, you saw some great shenanigans, and if you weren't, you should be watching on Twitch. I am one of your hosts, Phil Cataldo, but you can call me Philium, alongside the king of talk style, Anthony DiStefano.
What is going on, everybody? A great show. It feels good to be back. I feel like we just did this 2 days ago, which we did. But now we're back after an amazing Dynamite on the road to Rampage, on the road to Pac versus Andrade tomorrow night.
Mm-hmm.
I am super excited for that match.
And our other co-host, the best co-host, some would say.
The draw.
The draw. Jacky Rodriguez. What is up?
What's up, guys? It's a call for celebration tonight, because...
It's a celebration, bitches.
Yes, it's celebration time over here on Elite POV, because thanks to all of you out there, we broke 200 followers on our Twitter account, so that.
What a great sound. It was like...
that was...
Yeah, it was a little lackluster, but the confetti will come later.
Have all right, listen, this whole podcast is like the fucking the explosion match in AEW.
Yeah,
like
this is
a lot of build to it, and the exploding barbed wire just didn't go off.
Somebody time Kyle out, by the way, because he's being a troll.
We don't have mods here. I'm not famous like you guys.
That sounded like a fart. Yes.
Thanks, Mom.
Thanks, Mom. Yes. Thanks, Mom. That's the type of stuff we like to see in the chat.
Yes.
And of course, hey, if you guys
I remember
are
when Jacky
live,
was a
Elite
kid.
POV on Twitch, you get to see Jacky's mom give her shit.
Yes, amazing. It is amazing here. It's a great atmosphere, right? This Elite POV. I am super, 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 super high still from everything that's happened this week. And then there's a certain somebody who might be a free agent in January, which then if he goes there, there's literally no reason to watch the other product anymore. There's no reason for me to watch anything, and that is Kevin Owens. So if Kevin Owens goes to AEW, I think we're going to have just a part. The whole episode is going to be a welcome Kevin Steen party. That's all it will be. It will just be a part. We'll dress in party. If Kevin Steen goes to AEW, we're all going to dress up in party gear.
You ain't lying. And let me tell you something. For people who don't know, who are listening at home watching, so it was reported this past week that Kevin Owens' contract, which was believed to be a 5-year deal, is actually not, and is actually coming up in January. And he then went on his Twitter account and he teased in his location, he put almost there. And then in the Young Bucks Twitter, they put there. So they're definitely having
He
a lot of fun
also
with
shared
this.
a picture of Mount Rushmore, which was the faction in Ring of Honor. Yeah, he shared the coordinates.
It was PWG.
It was the core. Oh, was it PWG?
Yeah, I think it was PWG. It's Kevin Owens, the Young Bucks, and Adam Cole. They were called Mount Rushmore and PWG.
Yeah, I mean, I'm here for it. I don't care. I'm here for all my favorite wrestlers to just keep coming over.
Oh, me too, right? And now there's reports of Sami Zayn's contract may be up within the next year as well. So
but if there's one person who's just like, this company gives me nothing, it's Sami Zayn.
Oh, 100%.
Right?
Especially
like,
how
absolutely.
Good but in some positive news when it comes to signings, as seen, so during these Dynamites, they do a lot of taping. They tape Elevation, they tape Dark. As we saw, starting, was it next week? That picture, Ant? Starting very soon, they're going to start taping Darks in a studio setting in Orlando. So that's pretty cool. But from those tapings, we got a little bit of news. It's a little bit of spoilers, but I mean, it's not a crazy bit of spoilers. But Lee Moriarty is All Elite. Do either of you know who this person is and why everybody's so excited? Because I do not.
No. But congratulations on the contract.
No, congratulations. No, it's a name that I've heard circulating around a lot. I know that, but I'm not personally familiar, so I'm not going to try to sit here and act like I am.
Yeah, whatever someone gets on, I don't know. I feel like the little league coach that pats the kid on the head. Good job, champ.
Yeah, right? Yeah, good
don't
job.
know what else.
Here.
Don't know what else to say, but hey, listen, the crowd was happy, and that's what all elite wrestling is the best at, is making the crowd happy, right? And I mean, this week's show made me happy. A showcase of young talent, if you will.
Oh, absolutely a showcase of young talent and a showcase of the talent that debuted just a few days ago at All Out. Now, I want to start with we're going to start with the ending because it's very controversial. There's a lot of different takes on it. So, of course, they were in Cincinnati this week, Jon Moxley's hometown. So the main event was Jon Moxley versus Suzuki. And a lot of people's issue with this was they cut his music. They didn't let the crowd chant his song. And the match was only it was an 11-minute segment.
It was a blip.
Yeah, it was so quick. The match was probably 9 minutes long with Moxie celebrating at the end and then plus the entrances. But Jacky, what did you think of this segment just for what it was?
Well, at the start of it, I glanced over at the clock and I'm like, there's 10, 11 minutes left in the show. What the hell is going on? Because this was a match that, everybody was really hyped for. I had never seen Suzuki wrestle prior to this, so I was kind of feeding off of everybody else's hype. The match was great. For what it was just incredibly short. It was really intense, a lot of heavy striking, and, of course, I feel like the theme now is we're seeing a lot of random blood on Dynamite. Suzuki got busted open in the eye.
A lot of hard ways last night, especially Dustin was bleeding all over.
Dustin, a lot of blood. It's a Rhodes thing.
It's true. Yeah.
But what kind of threw me was that at the end of the show, and I know that we talk about this often, where the endings don't feel 100% right. It felt like the match ended and there was 2 minutes of Moxley just going off into the crowd.
It was his hometown, so they were trying the hometown hero vibe. And again, that's my biggest problem with AEW is they just don't stick the endings. You didn't need him to go section to section to section to section. Show him hop in the crowd, celebrate with the crowd, and then cut. And then you could have had him walk around. We literally had him walking around the crowd for 3 minutes. You cut off Suzuki's music, which pissed the internet off. I know that
they were heated.
Yeah, I'm whatever about it because I thought they cut the music so that the match could go, right? But then at the end, when Jon Moxley's walking around doing the hero hometown welcome thing, I was like, okay, so you cut the music for nothing and you had the match go short. The match, though, was everything I wanted, right? It was so hard hitting. It showcased Mox. Mox is having a ball. Suzuki's a badass. And, 10, 11-minute matches don't hurt because we got to remember this is for TV, right? It's not for a pay-per-view. So on TV, we know AEW is like a sprint. It's literally you start at 8 and you sprint to 10 o'clock. There is no downtime.
Yeah. Which sucks.
Only downtime. Last week, there was no downtime because Kenny Omega was still talking when they cut. This week, you had too much downtime. They're going to find that sweet spot. They're going to find that, and not to mention the other brand, but that's what WWE is very good at, is ending the show. Whether it's cut to the face, cut to
they always go over, though. Because they have a lot of leeway. They're good at ending SmackDown on time.
I just mean the final scene being impactful without wasting a lot of time.
Yeah, and as we're seeing in the chat, Kyle saying that TNT is very strict when it comes to the ending because Lord knows we got to see the same movie.
We got to watch Creed 2. We just saw Creed 2.
Creed 2 is a great movie. I will not stand for this Creed 2 slander in my presence. But Creed 2's got to start
need to be on twice. Yeah.
So, but it's a very hard out. And
spoiler, he wins.
Wow.
But yeah, as a match though, it was a fun match.
Yeah, it was great.
It was hard hitting, right? They got the crowd into it. People were loving it. Like we said, Suzuki started bleeding in it the hard way. And listen, and I know, we were texting about this. Moxley's got to do something with this damn paradigm shift because it is looking sloppier in every week. It's just looking like a dragonfly suplex.
And I think that's what it's turning into. I don't think because he hits the one, Like he'll hit the paradigm shift, aka the old dirty deeds, where he's not lifting as high.
Yeah.
And like, so I feel like it was like dirty deeds. Death Rider was a little bit higher, and now the paradigm shifts almost like the highest point of it.
Yeah, but
where
he
he
doesn't
should
do-
be
he
turning
doesn't-
it.
But
he
it's
should
not
be-
consistent.
Yeah, he
It
should be
doesn't feel
turning
like-
it into like a brain buster suplex then.
Yeah.
Instead, he's just kind of flipping him over, and you're like, you just hit this guy with 15 forearms, and that's the move that's going to put him out.
It doesn't look devastating enough for his type of character, right? Like
No.
at least with the dirty deeds, like when it was at this lowest point, it was quick, so it was like
Yep.
out of
You
nowhere.
can hit out
right?
anywhere. Yep.
But
Bam.
with this,
Done.
it literally looks like, oh, that's a suplex, but then it's like the announcers are like, paradigm shift.
Yeah, like for someone like Kurt Hennig, right, Mr. Perfect, that's a finishing move that he could pull off because he could be like, I have the perfect, DDT suplex, and it's the most devastating thing because I simply execute it better. John Moxley's a fighter. John Moxley's a brawler. I don't think finesse with him. I think he's going to put your brain into the ground. And the past couple weeks, it's like increasingly getting worse. And as I watch it, I'm like, he's turning this into like an inverted suplex.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. But I mean, hey, it was cool to see Suzuki, right, on American television. Cool to see him on a free episode of TV.
I heard
right?
so Kyle said he's coming back next week.
Yes. Isn't he teaming with Archer next week?
Is that a thing? Was that announced? I didn't see that.
I haven't got to go on Twitter.
I mean, I'm sure it is, right? Tony Khan is very good at reading the room and listening to what Kyle is saying in the chat. Kyle, man, it's almost like you're a part of the show already. It's weird. But AEW is tweeting. AEW tweeted about it. But so now with the last match, and I want to start to talk about the first match because I believe the first match went way too long, and they should have given some of that time to the main event. So with this one, Ann, I want to start with you. What did you think of Malachi Black versus Dustin Rhodes?
All right, so I haven't watched an event with my father. My father's never really watched AEW. He watched CM Punk's return, but he's never watched a Dynamite. So I said, hey, Dad, why don't we watch Dynamite and just, hang out? Because I'm living with my parents right now, obviously, when we're hopefully getting a house tonight. But we're sitting there, and he's like, this match, oh, man, like, that's Aleister Black. I'm like, yeah, Malachi Black now. He's like, oh, man, he looks badass. Like, this is awesome. But then the match was going on, and he's like, yeah, this is going long. And then when he missed the kick, he's like, why did he try to kick a guy that tall? And I was like, I think the whole internet said, why did he try to kick a guy that tall? Right?
But he should have people like that before. I think
a leg sweep into it would have been fucking sick because then Dustin's on his knees and it's just full blown. But my problem with this, and this is nitpicking because I love everything about Malachi Black, is you destroyed Cody. You destroyed Cody Rhodes, and now Lee Johnson gave you a little bit of problems, and now Dustin Rhodes is giving you a little bit of problems. There shouldn't be any problems for him until Cody got back. He should have ran through the whole Nightmare family, kicked everybody's face off in 3 minutes, and then had Cody come back for his redemption.
I mean, that's better than what we got. And listen, it was still a fun match. I
thought it was fun. Dustin looks great.
Too long. And then, like we said, he missed a kick, so it was like the ending was a little sloppy. But, Jacky, what'd you think about it?
Okay, maybe I'm in the minority here because to me, like, as I was watching it and now thinking back about it, the thought of the match being too long didn't enter into my brain. I don't know if that's because
we're jaded fans, is what you're saying.
No, not necessarily, but it's just like I think it's more maybe that I'm slightly biased because I'm becoming the freaking biggest Malachi Black mark. So it's like the more that I see him on my TV, the better off I feel. But I didn't have a problem with the length of the match. I thought it served its purpose and whatnot. I'm curious, like, I didn't really catch the moment until after the fact where I saw him bleeding out of his mouth, like exactly what caused.
I think it's when he pushed him into the turnbuckle.
Yeah.
But the exposed turnbuckle. There has to be that because I don't know.
AEW's turnbuckles are like going to be the death of their wrestlers.
Yeah, like stop taking the turnbuckle pad off.
The old blood pack.
Kyle is saying the blood pack. Maybe he was selling the kick that didn't land.
Yeah, he kicked me in my arm.
So it's good, Jacky, that you didn't notice the time because, and I don't know how you feel, Ant, but knowing that they cram so much into these AEW shows, I'd be lying if I didn't say that I am stressed out about the time every single week because I always feel like there's one too many segments on Dynamite, whether it's a promo or whether it's a match. And now that they're giving Punk a lot of promos, we saw the Adam Cole promo, which we'll get to, and like they're having more promos, but they're not cutting down match time, so it's literally to the second. So if anything goes even a little longer, it affects it on the back half of the show. So the fact, if a lot of people on Twitter were saying the first match went like 20 minutes, which is like way too long for a show that has Moxley and Suzuki that you have to get to in the main event.
And this is going to sound like haterish, but it's not. It's way too long for a Dustin Rhodes match, right? Like if Malachi was fighting like a Sammy Guevara or something, okay, you can take the time. Dustin looked great, but I get what they're doing. People are coming to see Brian and Cole, and you're like, look who we got. We got Malachi. We got Aleister Black. This is how we present him. But I think after the presentation and after the first commercial break, it's like, end it, especially for the people that know the storyline. Like for me, that was my biggest thing is he dismantled Cody Rhodes, dismantled him. Why is Dustin giving him so much more problems when we know Cody can beat Dustin? We've seen it, right? Mm-hmm. So that was just that's my little nitpick where I'm like, he doesn't feel as unstoppable as it seems he should feel going into Arthur Ashe, and maybe that's for a reason, but he doesn't seem as unbeatable as I thought he would be presented before his rematch with Cody coming up at Arthur Ashe.
And it's another thing.
That's
I mean,
fair.
being very critical this week, but I definitely, as great as AEW is, I do not like how they make some match announcements. The Cody Malachi thing, if you looked away, you would have missed it. Like
that came out of nowhere.
Yeah, they just say it, and you're like, oh, like this is a big match. Like I understand this is like a Dynamite match, but it's at Arthur Ashe, which is going to be their biggest show. So it's like, I mean, you should put a little more hype behind it. Maybe give it its own promo package or something.
Like Cody's in front of a camera probably because Cody's going to put himself over. Thanks, I probably agree. I could agree with that, and he's going to cut a long-winded promo, which whatever. But you're right about that though. Like Cody's in front of a camera. He's doing the Go Big Show, not Paul White because there's no more BS. But he's doing the Go Big Show, and you have a camera in front of your face. Why couldn't he cut a promo? Like that is Cody Rhodes' best part of his game. Is his meaningful promos when he's deep into a feud. Why wouldn't you have that guy cut a promo that plays on the screen after Malachi attacks Dustin? So you have Malachi beat Dustin, have him attack it, play Cody Rhodes music. He's looking around. Cody appears on the big screen, cuts a promo. I'll see you at Arthur Ashe. Like it's just an easy way to then the crowd goes, holy shit, we're getting this in 3 weeks at the biggest show they're going to have.
Yeah.
Like instead it's like, here's a graphic because we're in a sprint right now. Like we got to get to this next segment here. And then JR is fucking 6 minutes behind everything.
Yeah.
I questioned if it appeared earlier in the show and I just missed it. I'm like, did they announce this already? Because I don't remember them talking about this.
It just appeared like at a random point in the show. It wasn't after the match.
It was like a side note.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
it was weird. It was weird. It's just like the graphic popped up and I'm like, oh, so Cody Rhodes didn't retire. You didn't say anything about it. Like my man was holding his boot up and that's the last I saw him.
Yeah, exactly. But from that to something I think is really, really cool. So we get another Punk promo.
He's coming back for his boot.
Yeah. That's great. We get the Punk promo, and I saw a lot of tweets making fun of this. And it's the funniest thing in the world to me. It was like, CM Punk, who do you want my next match to be? Taz, what the fuck did you say to me? I love that Team Taz is like your welcome package. Welcome to AEW, feud with Team Taz. Like everyone does it.
The best is Punk's like, nobody even said Team Taz.
He's like, when did I say that?
No one said that.
Because I think I got what Taz was saying because he always says Ricky Starks, Powerhouse Hobbs in every interview he does, but he's never acknowledged them on AEW television.
Yeah. So we don't know.
Oh, he should, and he went back to it. So Taz did a nice rebound. He's like, "You've said it on radio. Your face is all over." So like Taz rebounded.
He saved it.
But to us fans, like, so say that I wasn't there to explain that to my father, who is his first show watching. And CM Punk goes, I never even mentioned you. my dad be like, so what? Why is this happening? Why is this happening? CM Punk's never talked about him. Why is this happening? But Taz saved it, and I'm here for Ricky Starks versus Punk, but I think Hobbs, after seeing Hobbs look great against Dante, I think Hobbs and Punk are going to have the best match out of all of them.
But, I mean, also, we got a promo package after this fact, but, Ricky Starks and Brian Cage, they still have one more match to finish their feud. So I think while they're finishing that feud up, because, of course, this is AEW, whether you like it or not, they're going to finish the story.
They're going to wrap it up.
Right? So we're going to get Will Hobbs versus CM Punk. I hate calling him Powerhouse Hobbs. Like, Powerhouse Will Hobbs, that should be his name. I don't like that his first name is Powerhouse. Whatever. But Hobbs versus Punk is going to be a lot of fun.
He legally just changed his name to Powerhouse. He's like an NFL player.
Yeah.
It's like Powerhouse Hobbs, Dakota State University.
Yeah. But are you excited for this, Jacky? Hobbs versus Punk matchup?
I would be more excited for the Starks versus Punk match, but I mean, I'll take it. I enjoyed the segment overall, like in terms of the Punk promo and with Taz. I felt like it was the first time in a while where you see like an argument between people on screen where it actually felt like an argument. Like not like where they're politely taking turns and saying, okay, you say your piece and I'll say my piece. It's like, no, don't talk over me. Why are you interrupting me?
Yeah.
Shut the hell up. Like that kind of thing where it felt like real and aggressive. So I really appreciated that.
Taz drew that out where he's like, I'm over this bullshit that you're happy to be here. And I'm like, someone needed to say, I love Punk.
It's cool though. That's very cool.
It's cool, but it's like, everyone's thinking in their head, right? Especially CM Punk fans, like this. We love that he's back. We're excited. This is fun to see. But man, where's that angry CM Punk? And Taz pissed him off, and you saw it a little bit. And
it snapped back.
Pissed him off. And he's like, first off, don't ever cut me off. And I was like, there you go. That is the Punk.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just that segment was perfect because it felt real. Like you said, Jacky, it didn't feel forced. It didn't feel scripted. It felt like these two were arguing. And it felt like Punk, like in a real argument, when there's people around, people pander to them. Like, are you hear this? What is he saying? Like, and Punk did that with the crowd, and it made it feel even more legit.
Yeah.
And I don't know how you're not excited. I think Punk versus Hobbs is going to be awesome. Like, I just think the
Punk works better with bigger,
yeah.
Punk works great with powerhouses. He always has. His best match, like, except for the Ryback, but his best matches were like him and Brock were unbelievable because of the strength of Brock, what he could do and how Punk can manipulate that.
And it'd be cool because, we just saw him against Darby, who's smaller than him. So let's go Hobbs, who's way bigger than him. And then you'll get, Ricky Starks, which I think...
I'm sure it'll be a good match, but it's like, I guess it's like, I'm not quite on the Hobbs train yet.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
no,
I think
he's okay, still super new, right?
Yeah,
like, you want somebody...
green.
Like, let's be honest, right? And I now I see where you're coming from, Jacky. So let's be honest. Mm-hmm. You put Hobbs and Punk in the ring with microphones, Hobbs is completely lost.
No, but that's why you have Taz.
No, but I know that, but I'm just saying, like, you could put Ricky Starks with Taz without Taz anything. And Ricky Starks and Punk can build to this big match. But I think that's the second part of the story.
I don't think it's a money match. I think we probably get it at Asher or Asher. What is it?
Arthur Ashe.
Asher Roth. You get it at
sorry,
Asher Roth.
We're gonna get it at Asher Roth College, his only song that he ever put out. We're gonna get that. No, but I think we're gonna build up to that. And my whole vision when I saw that, okay, he's going against these guys. He's going against Hobbs. He's going against Hook. He's going against Starks. My whole vision is they're racking up his win record, right? Because if they're really going with this real sports feel and you need to have a record, there's 3 wins that you're not going to be like, oh, Punk's going to get beat. He's not going to lose any of those matches. So before you know it, in 2 months, Punk's now 6 or 7-0, and now he can start challenging for titles. And everyone's going to be, oh, it makes sense now. You can get, because AEW listens to their fans and they watch the critics, and the critics are always like, well, why does he get a title shot? He's only been here one time, and you're supposed to be really sports-based, and you're supposed to be, right? And guess what? This is how you get him there. So when Punk's 6, 7-0, and they go, oh, okay, why is he getting a title shot? Well, he's undefeated.
Well,
I feel like that's how they worked it with Christian.
But they said it last night. Will Hobbs is number 2 in the rankings.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, well, I don't know if they said it last night in the telecast, but I was listening to Tony Khan on Busted Open, and he was talking about it. Will Hobbs is number 2 in the singles ranking. So when Punk beats Hobbs, that's a big deal. He's not just beating anybody, right?
How is Hobbs above Miro?
Because Miro is a champion. I don't think he's in the...
He's not counted in
they don't count.
They don't count the champions. They're in their own thing, which I don't understand.
So who's won now? Hangman?
No, Hangman wasn't one. It was Christian, but Christian lost.
So now it's Hobbs.
No, Hobbs is 2. Maybe Hobbs is 2 in the TNT ranking. I don't know. He's 2 in something. Tony Khan was talking about it and bigging him up. But speaking of Hobbs,
he's second in line to get his ass kicked by Punk.
Yeah, definitely. I want to talk about Hobbs versus Dante Martin because this was a banger of a match, and it had a moment in it that I really want to get your take on, Ant. When Dante Martin does the tope suicida to the outside, and
never
Hobbs
seen anything like that.
I've never seen anything like that.
And then slams him to the post.
Oh my God!
It was like that would look devastating. Dante is so good if they just keep building him in these kind of matches, and it comes into what I'm thinking is, and I've seen this online a lot today too, and I think everyone, and that's the beauty about AEW is I think a lot of our fans think the same way, right? Is there needs to be another title for guys like Dante Martin. Because the TNT title feels like the Intercontinental title used to, where it's like you're pretty much the next guy to go for the belt if you're this. Like they protect it. They need a title where it's like, okay, these are my up-and-comers. These are our young star. And this is Sammy Guevara, right? This is Sammy. This is Dante. This is Powerhouse Hobbs. This is Ricky Starks. And I think if they added like another singles title, it just elevates people because then it's like, okay, so Dante Martin has had this belt and then he loses it and then he's challenging for the TNT title. It's like a stepping stone. And I think that would be a cool thing because obviously I feel like they're protecting that TNT title. I think Kingston might get it, but the title hasn't switched hands that much. He's the 4th champion?
Well, I know that Tony Khan has said in the past that they booked the TNT championship like it was another world title.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not meant to be like a mid-card title.
Which, listen, I understand what you're saying. I don't want another title in the company because I know they're going to eventually add the trios title. And I know that Tony Khan in the past has said he wants to add women's tag team titles once their division has enough talent in it. But, so I don't want to be like New Japan where there's 47 titles. And it's just like, who isn't a champion, right?
You don't need 47, but I don't.
But you'll take 45.
The trios titles. I mean that's going to happen, but I would sacrifice that for another singles title,
or make it like
the cruiserweight championship. Title. The cruiserweight championship, and this doesn't have to be a cruiserweight championship, but something like that that opens the show.
Yeah,
like it was my favorite belt of all time because I would turn on Nitro and it would be Rey Mysterio versus Jericho versus Eddie Guerrero versus Dean Malenko versus Psychosis versus Juventud versus Ultimo Dragon,
like
and you're
like
X
division title. That would be the more current one. Right?
But then, but like you tuned in at 9 p.m. because they were starting the show with fire with the cruiserweight division.
Yeah, you're right.
Like every week they started it with fire, and that division meant something. And then you eventually see these guys that were there go to another company, and Benoit, Jericho, Mysterio, Eddie. They became world champion in another company because of how good they were in WCW.
And we see it in the chat right now, hashtag Black Wrestling Draws. And that's something I definitely want to bring up because it has been all over social media this past week, right? And we saw on Dark, we saw Big Swole versus Diamante. Big Swole was able to get the victory in a match that a lot of people love. They main evented Dark. And then we saw Will Hobbs versus Dante Martin being added to this. So they're definitely showcasing their black talent. It's just, I think people need to be a little more patient with the ultimate main event scene, right? Because there's a lot of black talent in AEW that still needs to be seasoned before they're ready for it. Like a guy like Scorpio Sky is probably one of the most talented wrestlers in the ring, but as far as to casual fans, we're still learning who he is, right? Or they're still learning who he is.
Well, I mean, look at the spot Hobbs is in. Hobbs is going against CM Punk. It doesn't matter if he's going to have that spotlight on him. Right? For as long as this feud goes with that faction, the spotlight is on Starks, but the spotlight will be on Hobbs. And literally, Punk has mentioned Hobbs almost more than anybody.
Yeah.
So the excitement around that match will be great. And I think, and listen, this is a different company, and I really do think we're gonna get a lot of what the fans want, and that's the beauty of this company, and that's what made me fall in love with pro wrestling again. Is this company actually listens, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely does. And speaking of craziness last night, so we have MJF come out and cut a promo, right?
Oh, Jesus.
Oh man!
Oh, my
I want to go
God.
to you. I want to go to you, Jacky. This entire segment, from what he said about the Jericho match to going at Brian Pillman Jr.'s aunt who raised him, Aunt Linda. Right? If you guys saw the Dark Side of the Ring documentary, it's incredible. Or the episode about Brian Pillman, it's incredible. It's definitely a must watch. So if you haven't watched it, make sure you go and watch it. So he goes after him. And then we get Brian Pillman Jr. comes out, cuts this great promo in his hometown. You would have thought that match would have got added to Rampage, seeing as how they're in Cincinnati. But we're getting it next week in Newark. But what did you think about this segment just as a whole?
There is not a more savage, give no shits promo in that company or possibly anywhere than MJF. Mm-hmm. Oh my God. There were some things that, like, I literally found myself cringing just because it was like, did he just, like, talk about Pillman's mother's drug addiction?
Yeah.
Did he just, like, he came for, like, every, like, low blow possible, and he says it deadpan, no remorse in his face. It's just the things that he's able to get away with saying, and obviously, that these are things that are discussed prior. It's not like he's coming out of left field and, it's a surprise to anybody that he's saying these things. But the tension that's building up between MJF and Wardlow is killing me. It's killing me.
It's lovely.
And I tweeted about it last night. I'm like, MJF is like portraying that perfect heel that it's not even like, oh, you love to hate him. No, you just freaking hate him.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm so ready for Wardlow to turn around and stomp his ass out.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
that's
just keep building it. Keep building it and building it and building it till it's like, it's that, powder keg and it explodes. But I know it's coming and I wanted to, but this slow burn is freaking fantastic.
I wanted to come too, but like, I love the Pinnacle. Like, shout out to Jacky if you guys are watching this podcast. She's wearing wearing the Pinnacle shirt, right? And it's like, we're big Pinnacle fans, but I just, when that happens, when the Wardlow turn happens, it's gonna be epic. But listen, you went toe to toe with MJF at All In.
I did.
What did you think of Brian Pillman Jr.'s promo?
I threw him off his game a little bit. And the one thing I can respect about MJF, first off, is we know it's a character, but he stays in that. If you see him in public, that is him the whole time. He turned around, shot us a little, break the fourth wall wink, like a thank you. But yeah, I mean, first off, like I'm watching with someone who's never watched, right? And I go, Dad, this is a guy I interviewed at All In. I was like, he is the best promo you will hear because he is savage. He doesn't care about anything. And then he cuts the most savage promo he's ever cut about swallowing, about abortion, like shit that's like taboo
going
subjects,
after
right?
his sister?
Going after, and then his pregnant sister now is in labor.
It was Brian Pillman Jr.'s aunt. It was Pillman's daughter.
Okay. So, yeah.
And she's in labor now. He put her into labor with that promo. So
I love the Wardlow turn, but what I love more is that they put a spotlight, and I know it's because, the hometown thing, but no, because we didn't even get the match in the hometown. They're putting a spotlight. They're using the guys we all came to see to help get this younger talent on the board, right? We know MJF is going to beat Pillman.
Yeah.
We know it, but we get to showcase what Brian Pillman is in the ring. And we get to showcase that the guy's good at a promo because everybody last night tuned in for Cole and Punk and Danielson. And then they go, oh my God, that's Brian Pillman's son? Like, this lapsed fan probably didn't even know that Brian Pillman's son wrestles.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They go, oh my God, that's Brian Pillman's son? And he cuts a great promo and he looked great except for the mullet. I don't know why that trend's still here.
So we're not
but
getting it next week. We're actually getting it in Queens.
You're getting it in Queens,
Yes,
whatever.
we're getting
so
it at Asher Roth College
at
Stadium.
South Dakota State University. We're getting it there. But I just think the whole build for that is going to be awesome because it's, again, you had Griff Garrison, so you're probably going to get a tag match somewhere in there and you can show the Varsity Blondes off. I just love what they're doing. Like, I was so hyped to see Pillman cut a meaningful promo, and MJF, that promo skill captivates you because it's like, what the fuck is he good? As soon as he said, "Oh, you think you want to go toe to toe on a microphone with me?" I went, "Oh, he's dead. He's dead.
Yeah.
He's dead."
Yeah.
Right.
And
But the Wardlow thing, when Wardlow turns, he will be one of the biggest baby faces in that company.
hell yeah.
He has the look. People already want to cheer him. I think he hits hard. I think he's a little bit of a work in progress, but they're giving him time. And every time I see him, I go, that guy's a star. That guy's a star. Mm-hmm. When he turns on MJF and they have that match and he beats MJF, he will become the star.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have Kyle in the chat saying they showcased more of their young talent last night. And so for a lot of people who may be turning into AEW for the first time, right? Maybe this was your first Dynamite. Because, you know, the whole after All Out, everybody's watching, everybody's paying attention, right? We saw the ratings and numbers went way up this week. So you need to understand that AEW is the best in any company at hitting the reset button after a pay-per-view. Now we are building towards Arthur Ashe, and then you'll see after Arthur Ashe, we're going to be building towards Full Gear. That's why you saw a lot of new people on the show tonight. A lot of feuds get ended and get pushed into different directions. They are great at that, right? We saw Tully Blanchard drop a little teaser with Sting. What does that mean? Is Ric Flair going to come in and all this stuff? Like, there's a lot of great. We saw more of the Dark Order storyline on TV, right? Seeing how their match ended with Pinnacle, right? We see a lot of AEW is great at hitting the reset button, kind of putting everything in line, and then moving forward in the new direction. And Kyle is saying the Elite segment hit 1.5 million. Listen, it's.
Oh yes.
And let's go there. Let's start there. Right?
I don't want to be the demo guy, but their demo beat Raw for Monday night.
Did they?
Yep.
The winds of change. Adam Cole and Bryan Danielson and Ruby Soho all showcase on this match, as well as CM Punk. It's changing, right? There's a lot of focus on AEW right now, especially in the short term. If they're able to capitalize, which we all know they can, because we've been watching this show for a long time. We know that Dynamites deliver. Like, what's the saying everybody says on Twitter? How is every episode of AEW Dynamite the best episode of AEW?
Best episode of AEW Dynamite.
Everyone says it every week, right? And even when it's not good, it's still pretty good, right? You know, even when we're like, that's a little disappointing.
Yeah, well, it's like even if it's not like they hit it out of the park, it's still watchable. Yeah. You know what I mean? As opposed to like a show where you're like, I gotta like turn this off.
100%. It's like even when it's a bad AEW show, it's a good wrestling show. And that's like, even when it's like, this isn't the best episode, you're still not changing the channel because it's still a very good show. Like I didn't give last night an A. I gave last night a B because I felt the pacing was wrong. I felt little things, right? And I'm gonna be a critic because I love the brand so much, and I've seen a lot better Dynamites than last night. And I thought you should have put, you showed Jungle Boy at the end. You should have put Jungle Boy on that card. You should have put Sammy Guevara on that card. I think that they did a great job showcasing who they did, but they should have showcased the people that are going to be their next stars. And that is Jungle Boy, Sammy Guevara. They did a great job with MJF. Mm-hmm. So I just felt that right there is something you could have done differently. I think Jungle Boy could possibly be the Shawn Michaels of that company. I've seen other people say it.
I've said it since day one.
Everything about it.
Rob, if anybody knows Rob, ask him. Ask Carrie. I've been saying this from day one. Jungle Boy is the Shawn Michaels to this company, and Dax Harwood is the Bret Hart. If you guys remember back earlier this year, one of the best matches of the year was Jungle Boy versus Dax in that singles match. It was incredible.
That match was fire. Fire. One of the best matches one of my favorite Dynamite matches.
Matches that AEW has done as a company, period. It is an incredible match, especially for something that we're seeing for free on Dynamite. But before we get away from it, let's talk about the Elite promo, right? Let's talk about, and I'll start it off. My favorite
Brandon Cutler is the MVP.
Whoa, but my favorite part of that segment was when Adam Cole just ripped to shreds Tony Schiavone. Because, of course, as the boyfriend of Britt Baker and who's playing a heel on TV, you would assume that he's going to be like, yo, bro, I see you looking at my girl. Keep it professional, because if it's not, I'm going to knock you out, right? That's what every boyfriend would do, given the situation. You're a new employee for a company, right? And you're in wrestling words, you're a heel. So, like, be a heel, get the crowd to boo you. He rips Tony to shreds. Ah, dude, it was just awesome, man.
Kicked him out the ring, called him, like, what did he call him, a nerd or a dork?
Nerd. Leave nerd. Get out, nerd. But I just think when you think of AEW, it's like everything that JR gets ripped about, Tony Schiavone gets praised about. It was like, why was Tony Schiavone not a voice in wrestling for like the 15 years that WCW was gone, right? And there was no other company. Tony Schiavone is that good. He's likable. He's funny. Like, everybody loves Schiavone. And the fact that they address that, Schiavone is Britt Baker's best friend.
Yeah.
It was like, that is the best way to get, because everyone loves Britt Baker. Everyone loves Tony Schiavone. And everyone loves Adam Cole. And like, how do we turn this?
Yeah.
You make Adam Cole like punk an old man, right?
Yeah,
and then
right.
I just the Young Bucks outfits pop me every week. But I mean it when I say that Brandon Cutler has me laughing. Like when they charge the ring and he's just spraying
people. Brandon Cutler always understands the assignment.
Yeah.
He is like forever in the pocket doing exactly what he needs to do just to get the segment over. And you wouldn't think he'd be that guy, but he is.
Dude, the funniest visual, right? Marco, and do you see him? He tweeted, he was like little spider monkey. You see Marco just jump and just beat him up, dude. It was the funniest thing in the world to me.
God.
Yeah. Oh, it was. I really, I just can't say enough good things about what they're doing, because they could literally just have one thing that's weird, and I'm going to touch on it, but they could have this super group in the ring and they're full of serious people, but they're dressed like buffoons.
Yeah.
Like the Young Bucks are the greatest tag team ever, but my dad's like, what the hell are they wearing? I was like, they got it at Burlington Coat Factory. Like that.
It's the chain in the nose.
Yeah. But it's all designed to make you hate them. Like, look, I just like they're one of the. I don't think they're the greatest tag team in the world. I still think it's FTR. I don't care what nobody says, right? But
I think the Bucks
I think it's FTR. But I think that with the Bucks, you have to remember, like, they're such fan favorites that they have to go over the top and have a nose from their earring, or have a ring from their earring to their nose or whatever. Like that, they have
wear
to
metal rompers.
Yeah, and shave their beard in weird things every single week. And
the handlebar bleach thing that was happening on Nick's
Jordans that cost $2,000. Like, they have to go above and beyond
to be the most obnoxious people.
Kenny Omega reminds me of Tony Perkis from Heavyweights, the camp counselor. I don't know why, but this incarnation of him reminds me of like that character. Does anyone ever see Heavyweights?
I have.
You never seen Heavyweights?
It's so long since I've seen
Tony Perkis. Lunch has been canceled due to lack of hustle.
To me, what the Elite are doing are being everything that Twitter says they are, right? Remember those first couple of years? People were like, I hate AEW because Kenny Omega is A, B, and C. And I feel like they're just taking what people say they are and making it a character so people really hate them.
They run with it, and they're so good at it.
Which I can't wait. I cannot wait until this week's BTE, and I hope that I guess they would have filmed it already, but and the BTE is coming up, right? That they take this Adam Cole was supposed to be a manager news and make a joke of it on BTE, because you know they're going to do it.
Did you?
Yes.
Did no one notice what he did last night?
What?
When he looked he said, and I've been one of the best, and he looked right in the camera and said, professional wrestlers, like that.
Yeah.
They've been emphasizing that lately a lot.
But I think he played that professional wrestler because all that news came out about him potentially being a manager. So like, I feel like he has like little shots. Like last week was no chance in hell.
Yeah.
This week it's that. it's just fucking
But what
great.
about, we see people in the chat bringing it up, but what about
the face to face
with Bryan Danielson and Kenny Omega and saying he wants a shot, and Kenny being like, that's not how things work here.
Yep.
So, Jacky, do you think that this leads into a singles match sooner than later, or do you think this leads into AEW's famous 10-man tag matches where there's so many people in the ring, so many things going on?
I feel like that's been the formula thus far. Like they're gonna give you some rotation of multi-man matches before you're gonna get to that singles match. I think there's enough anticipation for it. It's a dream match situation. You know what I mean? Where people are gonna be chomping at the bit to see this match. I think they can go with a little bit of a slow burn and not have it hurt the momentum of it. It's not like they're gonna wait a month or something like that and they're gonna be like, oh well, I don't want to see it anymore. No,
Yeah,
people
exactly.
want to see it, and they want to see it badly. But they shouldn't jump right into it. I'm more than willing to wait.
And I see Kyle in the chat saying at Full Gear. No, absolutely not. That is our Cowboy. Our Cowboy is winning at Full Gear.
Adam Page.
And then
right after, bust. That's
is it the week before or the week after? And I'm sure Kyle will tell us in the chat in a second. That's why he should just join the show and stop fucking around. But either the week before or the week after, they're in Hangman's
Four
hometown.
Horsemen, the pinnacle of podcasts.
Let's do it, right?
But
I think it's the week before, the week after. They're in Hangman's hometown, so it's happening at Full Gear. Don't take this away from me.
Look, don't take it away from Hangman. He was your MVP during this whole thing. He's the guy that you built organically.
You don't need
and when he comes
to be a cowboy.
You don't. But I do think we're gonna
get that tattooed on me.
I think that Bryan Danielson. I can't stop calling him.
You're gonna get it. You're gonna get it.
I call him
Bryanson.
I call him Brian, which is fine because that's his
it
first
works
name.
Either way, right?
But
it could.
Brian.
But
I know you only call him Brian because you've watched so many times of Nikki Bella being like Brian. It's stuck in your head.
But I
that voice,
Brian.
Oh, that voice and that body and that oof. Ant's
flustered now. He's thinking of Nikki.
Okay, see what you did?
No,
you said Nikki Bella, now he forgot.
Hold on. Now I got the thing about the house. We didn't get it. But so I do think that Brian will eventually get that match with Omega. I think this is the slow build. Plant the seed. Omega then loses to Hangman, and then you get Brian versus Omega. Then you get Omega Punk because they don't want to put the belt on one of these guys yet because then it looks like, oh, you're just literally passing all this talent that's been there. I want Adam Cole. I want Adam Cole versus Jungle Boy. I want Kenny Omega versus Hangman. And I want Punk and Brian versus the Young Bucks. That's what I want. Because the Bucks don't have tag titles anymore, and it keeps Brian's feud going with the Elite. And Punk has mentioned about tagging with them. So I just think if you want a big card at Full Gear, you do all of that, and the fans will be ecstatic.
Yeah, I agree.
The Bucks versus Punk and Brian. The Bucks versus Punk and Brian.
Great.
Yeah, but I'm seeing in the chat now. I agree with Kyle here, where he says there doesn't need to be a title involved with Kenny Omega and Bryan Danielson. So it's take the belt off of Omega, let Hangman be the one to do it, and
Ashe let Hangman do it. Let him do it in 3 weeks.
That would be great.
And then at Full Gear,
perfect world,
you can have Brian versus Omega as a Full Gear match.
Yeah, and without a belt that's a great idea. But as we're getting towards the end of the show, because I want to make sure Ant can get to GOW, the best E-Federation going, twitch.tv/Game of Ant. Make sure you guys follow that. I want to hit 3 things very quickly. So we get a PMP promo. We get Santana Ortiz hyping the fact that, hey, at least for the time being, they're moving away from the feud with FTR, and they're actually going to start focusing on climbing up the rankings and going for the Lucha Bros. So, Jacky, how do you feel about this?
I wish that I could believe that they were going to take the tag titles at Arthur Ashe, but now given the title change that happened at All Out, I don't see that happening. But I want to see that fury and that passionate side of PNP, push them to the freaking moon and let them be, even if it's not Arthur Ashe, let them be the next in line to take the tag titles. But I want them to be showcased the way that I feel, and this is not a knock maybe it is. The way that I feel that they should have been showcased from the jump.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. What do you think, Ant?
I'm a huge PMP fan, probably my favorite tag team in the company. And I love that they're taking their eyes to the titles. And I think you could have them fight the Bucks. You can have them fight FTR again down the road. I'm glad that they went away from the FTR thing, but I'm more glad that FTR's wrestled last night because the
Yes.
fucking tweet scared the shit out of me for the
Yeah.
past month. But you can have them wrestle FTR down the line, but get them through the Bucks, get them through the I always the Jungle Boys, as Rob was calling them last night. He couldn't say Jurassic Express.
Yeah, the Jungle Boys. It was so funny.
Get them through them, right? Let them really fucking climb. Let's show them we're the best, we're the best, we're the best. And then that Full Gear Lucha Bros versus PMP for those titles. We've seen what they can do on Impact. That would be my dream scenario, right? Run it back. But I'm so glad that it feels like they're a big deal because for a while there, and I love them, but they felt like they were just part of the inner circle. They didn't feel proud and powerful, right? They felt like they were just the inner circle. Everything they did relied on what happened to Jericho, and they were basically Jericho's hitman, which is cool. But I would much rather them be what they are now, and that's we are focused on being the best tag team. We're still a faction, but we want the gold. We deserve the gold. And like you said, Jax, more ruthless, more passionate, because I don't think there's a better passionate promo in the tag team division than when Santana gets a mic.
You're not lying. Facts. You're not lying. Facts. And speaking of the tag team division, so just real quick, so the Dark Order storyline is getting pushed even further, right? We saw Anna Jay and Tay Conti in a little backstage segment try to calm them down, and then we saw them actually come out after they lost the match to the Pinnacle and look super disappointed in what's going on. A lot of people are saying, does this mean they're going to get a new leader? Does this mean Hangman's going to come back to kind of snap them back into place? And what do you think? Which one do you think is more likely at this point?
So we've talked about this. There's only a couple people that I want to be involved in this. I know the internet loves to think that Bray Wyatt or Wyndham or whatever he's going to be called is going to come and fix everything. Why? Right? Why? If you're going to do that, you might as well just split them up. Once Hangman left is when everything fell apart. Once they watched that DVD that Hangman left is when everything fell to pieces. So what happens is Hangman wins that title and all of the Dark Order comes out and celebrates. They're not, he's not their official leader. Their leader's back and all is well, and they're together as one. And that's, he throws up the Dark Order sign, holding the belt in the middle of the ring. That's how the show goes off. That's how it's fixed. It's all Hangman Page. As much as I want Bray to come and be spooky dark guy, keep the Dark Order out of it because Dark Order kind of tried that. It didn't work. And this incarnation of the Dark Order is what we all love. So why don't we just keep doing what we're doing here?
What do you think, Jacky?
Yeah, I very much romanticized that idea in my head about the triumphant return of Hangman, him taking the belt, kind of being the glue that holds everybody together. Down the line, further on, if they want to do a split and there is somebody like a Bray Wyatt coming in and you kind of take some this way and some in another direction, fine, but I want this payoff to be related to the Hangman storyline. I want that to kind of see itself to some form of completion before it goes off in another direction.
I will stay 4-star in the chat. Bray is not going to be solo because he's already teasing Cult of Wyndham.
Yeah.
Which makes me think he might go back to his original gimmick, which was my favorite gimmick ever, where he was just a creepy cult leader from Louisiana.
Yeah.
That was perfect. And that works better. That works better on AEW than the Firefly Funhouse, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right.
It's a little more rooted in reality type of stuff.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's not all crazy. But one last thing, because really, really quick, Ruby and Jamie had a match, and I definitely want to get to this because it was Ruby's first match on Dynamite.
Yes.
There was a moment that got a little scary when she hit that bottom rope really hard, and at the end of the match, she was clutching her neck, which, I mean, she's either the greatest seller of all time, or she was hurt. I mean, I know that they teased the match for Rampage this week, so maybe she's not as hurt as it came across. But Jacky, what did you think about Ruby versus Jamie Hayter?
Well, for starters, it was so good to see. It was so good to see Ruby Soho on Dynamite and how happy she is. She comes out, she's all smiles and whatnot. I like the direction that they're going in with Jamie Hayter too. Like she's just like this, bodyguard badass kind of, vibe about her. I think the two of them played off of each other well.
There's a lot of cake.
Yeah.
Shh.
Everybody loves that side of Jamie Hayter.
We do. We got a thirst club here already.
Thirst club for Jamie Hayter. We're Cake Club. Yeah, it's a good times. It's a good time.
Jamie is
Marie
a great.
Antoinette once said, "Let them eat cake."
Oh my God! Reel it in, guys. Reel it in. Keep the testosterone on a cheat, like a lower level.
Hold on.
Listen,
should I read your Discord chat last night?
We could talk about Cash Wheeler's thighs. You want to talk about Cash Wheeler's thighs?
Should I read?
No,
should I read it from our group chat, the Hater Booty Hunters?
Listen, Jacky, we are equal opportunists. We could talk about Wardlow. We could talk about Cash Wheeler's thighs, right?
Oh my God! Please don't do this to me.
Boy Wheeler over here. We here. We here. We broke Jacky.
Oh my God, you broke me. You freaking broke me. Look. Anyway, ending of that match, you have the run-in from Riho, and then you have Chris Statlander coming in and doing damage control. Likelihood is we're going to see some kind of multi-woman match, as a result.
Yeah, it's a trios match.
Trios match, yes. Like, have Britt and Jamie and Reba versus Riho, Chris Statlander, and Ruby
JR and Tony Schiavone have a funny moment with that. Later on, after that match, late in the second hour, they were like, "Hey, on Rampage this week, we have a trios match." And Tony Schiavone's talking, and JR goes, "A trios match? You mean a 6-man tag?" And Tony Schiavone's like, "Yeah, a trios match. That's what we call it here. JR, fuck, stop fucking up." God damn it.
They got a 6-man tag here on Slobber Knocker.
Jesus fucking Christ, bro.
Oh,
you've been here for over a year. Not even like 2 years, bro. You've been here from the beginning.
My favorite incarnation of Jim Ross was him trying to say the New Japan guys' names when he would be on Access TV. And he would just give up halfway through. He'd be like, Tana, yeah, that guy is great.
He'd be like, we have Okada versus Will Ospreay, and it's like Zack Sabre Jr. in the ring. It's like, bro, get your fucking people right. This is not even the Japanese names. You're messing up the British names, bro. Come on, man.
Oh my God. This went completely off the rails.
It is the worst. Listen. We respect Jim Ross. Okay, we respect you for what you did, bro. But you're like a Hall of Fame quarterback throwing interceptions. It's time to move on, okay? We're done with you. I can't take this anymore.
Yeah, see, everyone loves how JR Tanahashi.
And it's always Excalibur or Tony helping him. Like, no, this is
like Kobayashi, and you're like, no, that's the hot dog guy, JR.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
Slaughter my sauce on it.
The Ruby Riot thing. Like, Ruby Riot, Soho. It is literally on the Tron to your fucking left in giant letters. Soho. The song is saying Soho.
It's just his job, It's just his job, and he's not good at it.
Yeah, it's worse. But any final thoughts on the Ruby and Jamie match?
Loved it. I think Ruby looked great. It's great to see her actually getting like praise from a crowd. And but can we talk about the line of the night when Britt Baker said, "Why don't you just go back to catering like you were for the last 4 years?"
The last 4 years,
that was great.
So messed up.
It's great to see her on and getting to flourish and getting to show her talent and getting to show how great she really is, especially with a talent like Hayter, who's coming up the ranks. Britt Baker's muscle, if you will. I thought it was great. I thought it was a really fun match, and I'm glad to see Ruby just getting the recognition that we all felt she's deserved for like how many years now.
Yeah. It's a good time. But another great episode of AEW Dynamite. Let us know on Twitter at ElitePOV what you guys thought of the show. A lot of people, like Ant said, a lot of people were giving it B grades, which are understandable. Not every show is going to be an A and an A+, right? We have to be a little bit critical of this company, right? We have to kind of grade it fairly, right? Even though a B for AEW is an A for tons of other companies, but it's still a B here. But if you guys want to follow me, it's at Big Sith Energy. Jacky, tell them where they can follow you.
At Love You Make 24.
Ant?
And I am at Game of Ant, and you can hop on over to Twitch. Phil, are you able to raid? Because you could just raid me, and you guys can hop in, watch me play an
I don't
announcer.
think I could raid yet because I'm not.
He's not affiliate.
Yeah, I'm not
Yes, you
affiliate.
can. If you do this, if you do, you could /raid and then just put Game of Ant. You don't have to be an affiliate to do that. I don't think.
How do I /raid? We're gonna
In
give
the
me
chat.
something new to do.
You just /raid in the Twitch chat and type in Game of Ant, and then you can raid me because I'm already live right now.
/raid. Okay, and how do I do it?
Just type in Game of Ant. That's
After
all.
raid, Game of Ant, or same word.
Yeah, and then yeah, guys, just catch me on Twitch.tv yelling at animated characters fighting tonight right now.
Geo Dub.
And then it's a tournament, so it'll be fun. And then you can catch me on this show on Thursdays. No Monday this week, maybe. Oh, look, you are rating me.
Yeah, I figured it out. Well, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for staying for the technical difficulties. We love you. We'll see you guys next week.
Y'all are the best.
Bye.